Worthy of the Jersey, hosted by Eric Flannery and Tim Smith.
All right, welcome everyone to Worthy of the Jersey. I am Eric Flannery along with Tim Smith, and today is May 14th. It's a Thursday, 11 a.m. on a Thursday in week 9 of quarantine. And I am shocked as anyone that I had all three of these guys get up this morning before 11 so they can join us today on the podcast. We have Grant Huffman, who's heading to Davidson University, or the College of Davidson, or however you pronounce that. He's going to play basketball there next season. We have Devontae Blanton, who is heading to Eastern Kentucky next season. And we have Montorie Foster, who is heading to Michigan State University next year, but he's going to be playing football instead of basketball. So we're just going to get into this here, just ask us some basic questions. You know, a lot of people have been asking and wondering, especially how the kids have been doing, how the guys have been doing, the guys that are graduating, their plans, and all that good stuff. So let's start with Montorie. Just a quick, what's up and how are you doing? How are you holding up right now?
I'm doing good. I mean, just like everybody else, just like staying at home, staying out the way, just working on my body and stuff and getting ready for the next level. That's really it.
Grant, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I was a little bored at first, disappointed with how the tournament ended. But now I got a job. Like Foster said, I'm working on my body. Thankfully, I have a hoop at home so I can continue working out on my basketball game. And, I'm just trying my best to stay positive and looking forward to the next step.
Tay, how about you?
I've been doing pretty good. Good as anybody could be in this situation. Same as them too. Just been working out every day, trying to get my body right for D1 level.
So specifically, since you guys have kind of mentioned that a little bit, so let's just jump into that first. What exactly have you guys been doing, on just an average day? And don't lie here. What time are you getting up? What type of, what are you able to do to keep your y'all talk about keeping your body ready and stuff like that. What are you able to do right now while you're at home? And are you going somewhere to work out, or are you doing it all at home? Tay, let's start with you on that one.
For the most part, I'll usually wake up early, or whenever I wake up, and then I'll run treadmill and try to lift a little bit. And then later, if I can, shout out to Josh. My friend Josh, he got a gym on Chagrin. So whenever I can go up there and shoot, we'll go up there and shoot workout.
Does he have a gym at his house?
No, he got like a little local gym that he rent. Okay.
So you lied already because you said you get up early. I don't believe you on that one. I guess we should define what is early, Tay. What time do you get up every day?
Like about 9.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Grant, how about you? What have you been doing?
So the first couple weeks of quarantine, I was like going to sleep pretty late, waking up at like noonish. But I kind of got sick of that, so I decided to change it up. So I've started like trying to get myself to get up at 9:30, and then when I get up, I normally try to work out real quick, eat some breakfast, get ready, and then like I said, I'm doing my job with Instacart. Trying to make a little extra side cash, coming home, doing my thing. Then, like I said, I have a hoop outside, so I normally get some shots up with my dad. And then for like body weight and all that, I just do I don't know if you've heard of a Murph challenge, but I try to do like a half of one every day. So it's like 5 sets of 20 push-ups, 10 pull-ups, and then 30 squats. So then I try to throw in some abs too. Summer's coming up.
We'll keep our fingers crossed that the beaches get open.
Yeah, for sure.
So Instacart, tell me about that a little bit. Are you doing like multiple deliveries a day? For people, that's the grocery delivery service, right?
Yeah, right. So yeah, I'd say I probably do like 3 or 4 deliveries a day. Some days are a little bit slower than others, but I'm also signed up on DoorDash. So like if it's a slow day for grocery shopping, then hopefully I'll get some meals ordered to me.
Do you have to pick out the groceries?
Yeah, well, so like you're given a list, and then you like scan them, and then if you get the right item, it like accepts it. So it's actually pretty easy to use, but yeah.
Does that make more money than something like DoorDash or Uber Eats or whatever?
I would say it's probably about even. I don't know. Like it's pretty good. I probably get paid like 20 an hour as of right now. So
Because PJ and Grace are doing the DoorDash, and they're doing pretty well on that. Do a couple
yeah.
hours a day. So,
Mhm.
Foster, how about you, man? What are you up to?
Me, I'm just really just doing a lot of like body weight stuff, like push-ups, sit-ups, and squats and stuff really on a day-to-day basis. And really just like my day, it's not really nothing to do anything like because it's quarantine and stuff. So sometimes I go up to like my local field. I got like a field like right up the street that I can just go and run routes and stuff. I do that a lot, like probably like 3 times a week. And then that's really it. Like, and then I guess I can add in probably like playing the game too. I'll play like 2K with like Tay and stuff. So like we do that like every day.
Truth comes out. You guys are playing more video games than ever, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I ain't never played a game this much.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you guys this too. You haven't mentioned it, but I know it's going on a little bit. And you guys are, I think, finished. But when quarantine started, how did you guys manage school? Everybody's kind of talking about this, distance learning and all of that stuff. And did you guys kind of blow it off because it was the end of your senior year? Was it difficult to do? Was it easy to do? I know St. Ed's was, in my opinion, at least as a teacher, they were probably ahead of the game than a lot of schools because they got right on it. And, they were pretty flexible as far as, I think, pushing things back to like 10 o'clock and whatever. But, talk a little bit about the distance learning part of school. As it kind of finished up for you guys? And, was that tough for you guys? Was that a good thing for you guys, not being around school? Explain a little bit about the school part of things. Grant, why don't you start with that one?
It kind of stunk, to be honest, but because it took like the only fun aspect of school, which is going there and seeing all your friends and, just messing around. I didn't really put it behind me. I mean, obviously I wasn't like as serious about it as I could have been. But, I think our teachers did a really good job of not giving us too much work. I mean, obviously there's going to be a couple teachers, that they just like to give you busy work. But I think for the most part, it went pretty smooth.
Foster?
Yeah, I say the same thing. It went pretty smooth. It made me like really like lock in and focus on getting my work done and stuff, and not just like laying it off to like another day and stuff. So that's pretty. It worked out pretty good.
Good. Tay, how about you?
I'm not going. First part when we first started, I kind of blew it off. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't want to do it, but then I saw a lot of missing work. It was affecting my grades, so I had to lock in. It ended pretty smoothly. So
at least you're honest. I appreciate that. With that being said, guys, I think just real quick too, you guys have been talking about your bodies and all that stuff, and I know personally how hard this has been for me as an adult, just being kind of stuck in quarantine 2 months in. I'm kind of losing my mind and have lost my mind a little bit a few different times. What are you guys doing to kind of keep yourselves, mentally healthy through this, mentally ready? Have you guys kind of gone through, you use the word depression because that's the only word that comes up, but have you guys gone through times like that? And over the last 2 months, has it been kind of an up and down roller coaster? And if it has or hasn't, what have you been doing to kind of help you through those times? Grant, let's go back to you on that.
So I actually started something new during quarantine. The first couple of weeks, I noticed I wasn't really productive. I couldn't really be doing anything. So I started this thing called the dopamine detox. Me and my mom started doing it. And basically, I haven't really been on social media, maybe a couple times a week at the max. No, like, mindlessly wasting time on YouTube. I actually gave up playing video games. So right now it's been going pretty well. It's helped me be productive. I know it's like a little cliche and corny, but I don't know, it's helped me. So that's what's keeping me sane.
No, and I think that's good because I think there's going to be people that watch this and they see guys such as yourself who are, really elite athletes in a lot of ways and are going to play Division I sports and all of that. And they want to know, like, first of all, what are other people doing to help pass the time or get through this, both physically and mentally. And two, if I see somebody like Grant doing something or somebody like Foster doing something, maybe I'll try it. If I'm not doing well. So it's great to hear stuff like that. What about you, Foster? Anything that you're doing mentally, kind of getting through?
I mean, not really, but I could say like I'm being like more self-motivated, like getting up, wanting to get up and go out and do something. Cause I see like my mom and my dad going to work every day and doing their job, and that just motivates me to go out and try to work out and do what I have to do to get my body right and ready for the next level.
Tay?
What probably kept me sane is probably the MJ doc. Seeing how hard he works and seeing how much he work harder than everybody. So whenever I like wake up, I think about how the next man probably working right now. So I gotta get up and work.
That's good. We'll get into that at the end of this. We'll get into the Michael Jordan documentary and all that talk, because Tim and I can argue about who's the greatest player of all time. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But going back to our season, so let's just kind of get into that. I think the first thing that comes to mind is just the way it ended. And nobody here is obviously happy with the way it ended. But I think a lot of people kind of want to know, what you guys were kind of feeling and thinking, once you guys were told, if we kind of put yourself back in Toledo, where we kind of announced officially that things were going to be delayed and we weren't really sure what was going to happen. How did you guys kind of react to that? What was going through your mind? And now where are you with that? Like, are you guys at a point where you've accepted it and you have moved on? Are you still upset about it? So kind of take us through that little roller coaster of the last couple months as it related to just basketball and related to our season there. So let's go with Foster on this one.
I mean, I'm still like kind of mad like that it ended that way, but like you can't really control like what goes on in the world. So it's like me right now, I'm just moving past it and just like getting on with my life and just getting ready to like move on and be like to move on and go to college and and yeah, like I'm not really like hanging on like to the little situation that we had. I'm just moving on, just trying to better myself.
Do you remember like what you were feeling like when it first went down? Like, were you like hoping that we were gonna continue to play? Did you realize how bad it was at the time? Like that type of stuff. If we go back to our last practice and leading up to all that stuff, do you remember kind of how you felt then and what your thought process was then?
I mean, I was ready to play, like going up into like when we went to Toledo, I was like ready. I'm trying to play. But then like when you broke the news to us, it was just like, dang, we can't, this might be like the Lorraine game was probably our last game that we ever played together. And it was just like just a bummer that we had to end it like that.
Tay, how about you?
When we got the news, when we was on the bus, everybody was like in disbelief. It was mad like the whole bus ride. Nobody really wanted to talk about it. And then when they said we couldn't have fans, and when we beat Lorraine, we said we couldn't have fans. It was like, at first I was like, I don't even want to play for real because we won't have fans. But then when you said we can't play at all, like I didn't care if we had fans or not. I just wanted to play, get a chance to win state championship. And now I'm still a little angry. Just yesterday, my brother, we was just talking about how he had the best team ever and stuff like that. I was talking about how we had the most wins ever. And he was like, we both don't have a ring. And then when he said that, I just kind of got mad. I was like, man, we would have had one. I would have had that up on them. But, I would never be able to say that to him. So.
Grant, how about you?
So going back to that day, like I remember Brandon and I, we were just doing the shooting drills, and then we saw you like get a really serious face on the phone, and you're just pacing back and forth, and we were like, no way. Like, we had an idea, and then we came into the huddle, and you told us, like, I can just remember, like, I was just sad. You know, I think I started crying a little bit. And then moving forward, it was just postponed, but, you know, no one really had a positive outlook on how things were going to end. So, I mean, we were all kind of doubtful at that point. And then when they officially canceled it, obviously that was just like the worst thing you could hear, just because, you know, we were working so hard pretty much for our whole lives for that point, only for it to be like taken away by something we couldn't control. So, I mean, that just kind of sucks. And now, I mean, I would say I've accepted it, but like, I'll think back of what could have been, and then I'll just get disappointed. Not really like at myself, but like just disappointed on how things ended up.
If there was, and again, I haven't mentioned any of this stuff to you guys, but I obviously have a way to kind of finish up everything just because of, you know, how things ended, and I'm going to do my own thing to try to honor you guys and get together, what have you. But is there anything off the top of your mind that you know, just for what the situation is right now, we know what it is. Is there anything that you guys would like to have happen, either as a team or just you personally, to kind of put an end to this, or, you know, kind of wrap it up at the end here? Or do you really not care? It is what it is, and we're going to move on. Is there anything like, and what I'm kind of asking, is there anything that you can suggest to me as your head coach, or any other coaches that are out there? You know, you're a senior, your career's ended, your season ended early. We didn't have the end of year banquet. I've seen different ways in which, you know, teams have done some things here and there. But is there anything that's on your mind that you think like, hey, this would be pretty cool to do? Or, you know, I would like to see, you know, Coach Flan stop by the house, or I would like to, you know, do a virtual thing, or I would just, you know, when everything clears up, and God knows when, we'd love to get together. Is there anything that you guys can think of that you would like to do to kind of put a closure to the season, if that's even possible? Foster, what would you? I keep throwing you first, Foster. I keep putting you on the spot because you're the smart one.
I didn't really understand like what you were saying, like closure, like. Well,
like here, the season, you know, we know where we're at right now, right? And we typically have a banquet. We typically have, you know, something that kind of honors everybody. We go over the awards. We do all that stuff. We talk, you know, kind of like graduation, where you guys come up and you get your diploma. Well, at the end of the basketball season, we have a banquet. You get your award. You get all that stuff. Is there anything that you would like to have happen at the end of the season here, or end of the year, or you're okay and just kind of moving on?
I mean, that's kind of a tough one because, you know, like the epidemic and stuff right now. So like, I mean, I would love for everybody to like come together and probably like just get to see each other again one last time. But like right now it's just hard because of the virus and stuff right now. So I can't really answer that question right now.
Grant, you got anything?
I would say what I wouldn't want to happen. I don't know. You kind of talked about giving us a ring, but I don't know. I kind of wasn't like on board with that, just because I don't think it'd mean as like the same thing as having like an actual ring. And I don't know. It just like feels like we wouldn't actually deserve it. Like, we had a good season, but we didn't win. So, but I would like for all of us, you know, come together, like you said, have a steak dinner or something like that, of that sort. And I don't know, just be together with everyone.
Tay?
Yeah, probably just come together, because there ain't really much you can do about the situation. Like what Grant said about the ring, we didn't win nothing, so we can't ask for something we didn't win. So probably just come together and see everybody one last time.
But you didn't lose anything either, and you guys are, you know, 25-1, one of the best teams in the state of Ohio, if not the best team in the state of Ohio. So, you know, kind of going on that, you know, what, you know, I saw like Cincinnati Moeller put out shirts about being the AP champs and things like that. And there have been other schools that have done some things. So, you know, you can't sit here and say you wouldn't have won it, right? So let's put our predictor hats on.
Who would have
at
won?
St. Ed's, huh?
Who would have won? That would have been easy state championship. Easy state
You're
championship.
not lying though. I ain't gonna lie.
I think the Rowe Blanton family is getting like quarantine brain or something like that. With Devon talking about the 07 team on Facebook the other day, and Tay talking about an easy state championship. Well, Tay and Foster both think that it was going to be easy, or that we would have won. Grant, you agree?
I don't think we would have had any issues. I think we were playing our best ball when the season ended, but I don't know if it would have been easy. Obviously, we would have had to work for it, but I don't think we would have really had too much of difficulty, you know.
Hopefully, one of you guys would have made a 3-pointer over our last 3 games. That would have been helpful.
That's true.
It's amazing how poorly we shot, and we still were winning games by 20. Coach Smith, I got a bunch more questions, Tim, but I don't know if you got. We were saying we were changing the ball. Well, on sort of what we're talking about, and I hadn't seen that from Moeller, so I'm glad you mentioned that, Coach. I'll say this to you guys is that, you know, there's 3 teams in the history of our school that won their last game of the season, and you guys are one of them. So, you know, whether, you know, you missed 3 that we all wanted to play, certainly. But I think, you know, as time goes on, I think that's something that certainly you'll appreciate, in addition to, you know, the record for regular season wins, for rolling through the playoffs like you guys were. You know, I and all the other coaches, I think, would agree that you guys were certainly playing the best ball of the season at the end, and we all felt really great about our chances going forward. So, you know, I don't know. In your shoes, I don't know how I would react to, you know, some of the things that come along with usually winning your last game, right? Whether it's a ring or hats or, you know, banners or signs or any of that stuff. It's hard for me to put myself in your shoes, which I try to do. So I understand the feeling and how competitive you guys are. But I think, and I don't think you have, I mean, I think it's important that we still sort of understand and recognize what you guys did accomplish, which was quite a lot. So I'm gonna lean on some of the Twitter, 1 or 2 Twitter questions that we got, and maybe you can kind of talk about. So you guys did all have the experience of playing in Columbus, and we didn't quite get there this year because the tournament stopped. Well, I remember what the exact question was, but, you know, did I think it was along the lines of how did 17 and 19 sort of impact how you guys felt as seniors going through the season and the tournament this year? Obviously falling short those 2 years. And even in between, I mean, I think 18 was a really good team, and we just kind of had a bad night against Lorraine. So you had 4 years of really great teams. And Tay, I'm going to start with you on this one, but how do you think sort of your 3 years of experience helped set you guys up for what was a great year this year?
I would say when we lost my freshman year, I remember I put a picture on my phone said I would be back. That was like the year I was injured. I didn't have my best basketball. Couldn't like really help the team that much. And I put a picture I'll be back, and that was my motivation like the whole year. Again, our team back then. It didn't happen our sophomore year, but our junior year, we ended up getting back, and we didn't finish the job. But I wanted to make sure my senior year that I wasn't gonna leave my high school career without a ring. But unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to complete that. But that was my motivation. I always trying to get 1 ring before I leave.
Grant?
So I would say freshman year, kind of like, I've never played on a stage that big, you know, at Ohio State, with that many people there. So that was just kind of me getting used to everything. And then I think junior year was the year I realized how good and how excellent we have to play in order to be state champions. And I think because of that, like, we took that and then we tried to be excellent in practice every day our senior year so that we could fulfill our goals.
What about you, Foster?
Yeah, I mean, same thing like what Grant said and Tay said, like freshman year, like they really just like showed us the blueprint on how to like get there and really and like in the I think the 2014 year when they won the state championship, like me, Grant, Tay, we were all down there watching them play. So like we got to see them practice and just like work out. We saw how they play with passion and stuff, and like that made us like want to work harder to be a part of a winning tradition team like the 2014 team.
And Tay kind of brought it up, but each one of you guys had a season with us where you either came back or were dealing with injuries through the season. So I'm wondering how you guys feel about, you know, those experiences, and if there's things you learned about how to rehab, how to deal with injuries. Is there anything you would do differently? Grant, unmute yourself, so I'm gonna make you go first on this one. But Grant, was it a broken ankle or severely sprained ankle?
Broken, yeah.
In the first game of all these seasons are running together. Was it sophomore year?
Yeah, sophomore.
So your sophomore year. So I think it might be good to hear lessons that you guys learned about each of you kind of going through that. So Grant, why don't you start?
So it's like you said, sophomore year, I broke my ankle in the first game. And what I kind of learned about that is, one, you know, you got to take your time with injuries. I think I came back a little too soon for that. And I don't think I was completely, you know, healthy at the time. And really just like, you know, you got to be tough through those times, you know, like I kind of went through a downward spiral, you know, because basketball is like pretty much, I don't want to say my whole life, but like it was a big portion of it. So when that got taken away, I had to focus on other things. You know, I got my GPA better. But basically, you know, you just got to realize that it can be taken away from you at any point. So you just got to be thankful for the times where you can play.
And then Tay, you had a meniscus injury, I believe it was your freshman year. So what was that experience like? What did you learn from that?
It was hard. I remember when they said I had the meniscus, I cried on the way back home, and it kind of like just taught me take care of my body. I wish I would have done last summer was like take a lot of ice baths, take care of my body a lot more, stretch a lot more. Everybody know I'm not that flexible, but I'm working on it, and that's what I wish I was better at back then. Just taking care of my body.
And Foster, you've probably had more ailments than I can count, but the one I'm thinking of is mostly the back issue that you played with a lot as a junior. So what was that experience like for you, and, you know, any lessons learned or things you do differently if you have to deal with something like that in college?
Right. It was very tough, like especially mentally, like knowing I couldn't be on the floor like my brothers, because it like really held me back, and I couldn't move how I wanted to on the court. And really like for future preferences, like I feel like I should have like got my body stronger so I can like withstand like because I jump a lot. So like when I jump, like withstanding like jumping, the impact hitting the ground and stuff. Just I wish back then I could strengthen up my body a lot more, focus on weight training a lot more, and just focusing on my body and eating nutrition and stuff better.
So it's good advice, and we got three guys here who have basically played varsity basketball at St. Ed's for 4 years, which is, you know, in and of itself pretty special. We haven't had too many guys at St. Ed's that played varsity basketball as freshmen. So in those 4 years, I know sometimes it takes me a long time to think about, you know, special moments and memories, and sometimes I need my memory to be jogged a little bit just to remind myself of what happened. But can any of you, and we'll kind of go in order again, so I'm asking this question slowly to give you guys an opportunity to think, but over your 4 years, is there one special game, one special moment? Was there something that you just really will cherish and remember forever, and hopefully it's positive? So try not to use the, you know, obviously we'll all remember the way this season ended because it was just different and special in its own way and not necessarily a positive way. But anything that you remember back to your freshman year all the way through your senior year that really, really stood out to you and something that you'll never forget? Raise your hand if you want to volunteer first. Okay, Grant, like that.
I gotta say, probably the most special game to me was our freshman year. We just lost to Ignatius twice, both on last-second shots. I think games we both should have won. I think we knew we were the better team, and then in the district championship we played them, and I think we beat them by like 20-ish. So I don't know. I think just because we knew we were the better team, and we finally proved it after the third game. I think that was probably the most special game for me, and because it's a rivalry.
Tay?
Junior year, even though we like lost by like 40, Spire, Spire for sure. The atmosphere in that gym was crazy. I've never been in a gym that loud. And then we played against like a future lottery pick maybe. It was just a great game playing.
Man, Tay, I'm disappointed in that one. I mean, come on. You got our butts kicked, and you said that was a special moment.
Yeah.
Man, how did we win any games with that mentality? Foster, how about you?
I'll go back to like the Cali trip. I mean, I say it was freshman year. Just the whole tournament, it was just real fun to play against like the talent in Cali and stuff, and like just playing top competition like Jalen Hands. I don't know who else was up there, but just like top competition there. It was just a very fun experience, and it like made our team come together and bond very good. So, yeah.
You guys had a pretty special. I mean, we went to California, Myrtle Beach twice, I believe.
California twice.
California twice.
Yeah.
Myrtle Beach twice also?
No, Myrtle Beach
Or just once? Okay.
Yeah.
So you've had some traveling, you've had some experiences that way, so that's pretty cool. What about this past year? Was there any one particular game or moment that really stood out to you guys that maybe one, I think you guys were confident enough because you were seniors now that you felt like we were going to be good and good enough to make a run, and I don't recall really ever going on the floor thinking that we're going to lose a game. But there were some special moments throughout the season. You know, what any this past season that stood out to you more than others?
I gotta say the Huntington Prep game, and it was special. Like I didn't even play the best game that game, but I think our team played really well, and I think that game, it was just us after like the fact is just like us knowing like we're that team, like we're the best team in the state, and you know now we know it. Because, like, that was a top 25 team, and we handled them pretty well.
Foster, how about you?
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. Like the Huntington Prep game, that was like our statement win, really, because nobody was really like giving us respect. Like in the state, it was all saying like Moeller this, Moeller that, or St. Vincent, St. Mary, or something like that, and they wasn't really giving us that much respect. So I say like that Huntington Prep game, it like really put us on the map like nationally.
Tay?
For me, it was the Rose game. When we play Rose, everybody in Cleveland was saying Rose is gonna be us. Like they was counting us out, not knowing like we ran Cleveland for like the past 3 years. And when we beat them by 20, just kind of like proved to everybody that we still ran Cleveland, and it was like a statement win.
And that atmosphere there was pretty special. I mean, I think we don't really realize it too, but Lakewood Gym has never held that many people and for anything. And it was one of those seats where I just remember my family showed up probably 15 minutes before the game, and they were stuck about 20 rows deep standing in a corner and really couldn't find a seat anywhere. So we had some great environments and some great games this year. And I think just the energy after the Huntington Prep game in the locker room and stuff like that was something obviously I'll remember for a long time. And that was really, I think, my point as your coach, that I realized, we made a turn, and I think what really put a stamp on that was the next day, if you remember, we played Cincinnati Princeton, and they were arguably one of the best teams in Cincinnati, and it wasn't even close. I mean, we took them away, right from the tip. And we knew walking away from that weekend how special this group can be and how good we can be. So that weekend to me really stands out for you guys. Tim, any other questions? I have a few more, but
Yeah, you can keep going. I can just listen. I had one and then it
well, we can
disappeared
go
on
back
me.
to let's go back to Montorie a little bit, because Montorie, a lot of people are always asking about your
Yeah.
your 3 years. You were a basketball player at St. Ed's, right? I mean, you came to St. Ed's basically to play basketball, though you played some football in grade school, and you focused on basketball through your first few years. And like Tim said, you had battled a few injuries and had some ups and downs, so the recruiting and things like that probably weren't going the way you had really wanted it to, and so you decided to try to play football your senior year. Talk a little bit about that. Talk a little bit about that transition from not playing for so long to all of a sudden going into football, and how you managed to get a full scholarship to Michigan State because of that.
I mean, it was a real tough transition. Like people think it's like easy to just step on the field and just go play football. It's really not. It's like a lot that goes into it. I remember like my first practice, like I was messing up coverages like when I was playing defensive back, and it was just frustrating at first. Like it was times like some days I wanted to quit. I didn't want to play no more because I wasn't getting the time that I wanted to like early. But then my dad just sat me down and just told me like you just gotta keep pushing through it. Like nothing gonna come easy, and like just keep being motivated and just do the best you can every day. So I just kept like putting that in my mind and I just kept grinding, doing what I could in practice. And then that's when I finally got noticed, and Coach Lombardo, like, he switched me over to a receiver, I believe, like, I say like the third or fourth week of practices, and he switched me to receiver. And then I just started like doing the rest with receivers, and just getting better and better each day. And it was a tough transition, but I got through it though.
When did you know that you were probably, I mean, as a fan of the football program, I kind of saw it, and obviously talking to Coach Lombardo, and there were certain moments in practice that they had talked about. But when did you notice it and really realize that you now have a pretty good, potential to be a Division I college football player, and that was the path that you were deciding to take?
I mean, I feel like from day one I knew I could do it, just because like my athleticism and stuff. But I can probably point out one game. Like I remember my first start when we played Cass Technical from Detroit, and I was going against a DB called his name was Kalen King. He was a top DB. He had all like offers from everywhere, from Big Ten, ACC, all the top schools. And I was really like I could be on the field with him, and I was competing with him. And then that's when I knew like I could really do this like at the next level.
And just to be clear here, how was your basketball coach? Was he pissed off at you for doing this, or was he very supportive in your process here?
No, he was very supportive of me. He said if you want to go out there and play football, go out there and play football. He wasn't gonna hold me back or nothing, which I really respected for him for doing.
Man, that guy must be a great guy. But in all seriousness, though, I think there are coaches out there, especially at this level, and there are kids out there at your level who are Division I type players, and they try or they decide like, hey, I'm just going to focus on one sport because they feel like that's the only option and the only way to get a scholarship. And like everybody else, how proud we are of you for what you did, and the fact that you are, making the most out of your situation and being able to play at Michigan State is, makes me as proud as your dad, as proud as your, football coach, whatever, because, that's why I think you came to St. Ed's, was for a great experience, obviously educationally, academically, but athletically as well. And if it wasn't going to be basketball, which it still was because you had a great career, but to be able to watch you and continue to have success on football is going to make, I think, all of St. Ed's nation proud, and to have more guys at Michigan State's pretty cool. So we all look forward to watching that. with that being said, too, this goes to all of you guys, and I'm going to go back to all three of you real quick. What has your contact been with your future school at this point? And have you done anything? And we all know where we're at, right? So we all know it's different. We all know that it may not be what you expected it to be at this particular time. But what are your plans going forward, and what kind of contact have you had, you know, with whether it's Eastern Kentucky for Tay or Michigan State for Foster or Davidson for Grant? You know, what type of contact have you had with your coaches, with the school, and where is that kind of at right now? And we'll give Foster a minute to relax on football for a second. But Grant, how about you at Davidson? Where's your contact been, and what's kind of your plan going forward? And do you have a plan? Like, are you moving? Are you going to move down there soon? Or are you waiting for this to clear up? What's going on?
So I was supposed to go down June 1st, first week of June. Obviously that's probably not going to happen. And honestly, they told me this, they don't know when it's going to be okay. It just depends on when the school allows it or the state, one of those two. But they've sent me these TRX bands, and they're like just body weight workouts you can do. I still got to figure out how to set them up because they just came yesterday. But so I'll probably be busy with that. But like I said, with everything going on, they just don't know what's going to happen.
Have you been in communication with the coaching staff though through this?
Yeah.
Okay. Tay, how about at Eastern Kentucky?
He said he hoped for us to get down there sometime in July, but like Grant said, we don't know. My phone not working really, so my coach will text my dad or my mom or something like that. That's how I get in communication with them. So yeah.
And Foster, since football is kind of the talk of the town because it's the next sport really coming up, what has your communication been, and has there been any talks of plans, you know, moving forward or getting you guys up there as soon as possible?
So far, we haven't heard anything like when we're supposed to be up there and stuff because of like the virus and stuff. But I know Michigan, they just moved their stay at home order back to May 28th or something like that. And we've been keeping in contact with the recruiter people. They're telling us what they're going to do next. They've been keeping us updated on what they're trying to do with the admissions and stuff, and how we're going to be moved in and stuff. But it hasn't been really anything to move in and stuff, no information on what's going to be next.
Any of you guys received game plan and practice, playbooks and things like that? Have you gotten any of that, Foster?
I just received we got workout packets that we have to do, so I've just been doing that every day basically.
They send anything to you, Grant, like that?
They've sent YouTube videos of clips that demonstrate their offense and defensive scheme style. So yeah, I've just been watching those too.
And Tay, before you answer too, we haven't, Foster committed early to Michigan State or in the fall. Grant committed early to Davidson. You didn't commit till just recently after the season, so we didn't get this special, signing period and all that stuff. But talk a little bit about Eastern Kentucky. Talk a little bit about why you chose there and what was that process like, because quite honestly, they didn't offer you until the season was over, and they didn't get a ton of time to kind of see you play in person, although they were one of the teams that came up and saw us practice and those types of things. But what made you decide on Eastern Kentucky, and what are you looking forward to going there next year?
What made me want to go to Kentucky? They was playing in the tournament. They was playing Belmont, and they was losing by 20-15. And it was 10 seconds left, or it was a minute left. They was down by 15, but they was still playing hard. They was playing to the last. They didn't give up. And Coach Hamilton and Coach Laporte, they just great coaches. And when I saw that, I knew I wanted to be a part of that. I knew I wanted to be a part of an organization that never gives up. They're gonna keep fighting to the end. They're gonna make me work harder. They're gonna fight. And I just loved everything about that. And I was Coach Laporte wanted me to see campus, but with the virus going on, I couldn't do it. And he had recorded like walking around the campus for like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And when I saw it, I just knew that like they really liked me, and I think I would be a great fit with their program. So I just chose there.
And the relationship that they built out, a lot of people don't know, that Steve Lepore, who played for us at St. Ed's and graduated with Coach Smith, is an assistant coach there. So they had that connection. But, one of the reasons too, I think that, and you're kind of saying this, is the relationship that they built even through this process is they were probably one of, if not the school that kept in contact with you most. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, I think some people think it might have been just this is the one school, but Tay had a lot of offers. He had a lot of opportunities to go to different places, and schools were recruiting him. But Eastern Kentucky, to some up here may seem like it's kind of, out of the picture. Why the heck would he go there? But there was a relationship built there. They're building something really good there. And like you said, they got some great coaches that are turning the program around for the right reasons. And all of that was pretty good. So it was a well thought out decision. And I'm just glad you had an opportunity to make that and to get, through that. So as we wrap up here, we're not going to keep you guys too long, because I know you want to get back to your whatever it is you do. You're
Not video games, apparently.
Grant's got to go through some mental exercises before he goes out. Does this. But do you guys have anything that you guys want to say, or any questions you want to ask each other about anything? I know we haven't seen each other in a long time, but me, I always like to put you guys on the spot, and I always like to give you guys at least an opportunity to talk. But any questions you guys might have for each other, for Tim or I, or that type of stuff.
I got a question for you, Coach Flan. What's the plan with next year's squad? What's it looking like?
The plan for next year's squad. Well, that was actually a Twitter question from Michael Roth, who's a writer, and I think you guys met him. He's a good guy. He evaluates. He gave us 3 questions, which you guys kind of answered already within those. But his last one was to you guys: is what underclassmen do you think are ready to take over the program, kind of where you guys left off, and is there anybody? So I'm going to ask you guys that first, because the question was for you, and then I'll come back and talk about the program, where I think it's at. So Grant, since you asked the question first, who do you think's ready to take over for this program?
I think obviously Bova's going to have a breakout year next year. I think he's going to do like really special things. I think he's going to be the guy, but I also think Shane McCullough, I think he's proved himself this year, especially in practice, that he can play and that he can hang with us. So I think he's going to surprise a lot of people next year as well.
Foster?
Yeah,
I know you're irreplaceable. I know that. So let's just put that out the thing. But who's going to replace you guys?
No, I say like same thing. Like Shane and Mike, they definitely ready, because like with the things that they were doing in practice really surprised me. It made me want to play hard and just go at them like they're going at me. So definitely Shane and Mike.
Tay, what do you think?
Yeah, Bova and Shane for sure. It'll be practices where we want to be going that hard, and they'll just embarrass us. They special. They got it for real. So I think they're gonna have a breakout year next year.
Who's gonna be our big guy next year?
Don.
Malik.
Oh yeah, Malik. Oh yeah, Malik will go crazy.
My boy Z about to go crazy.
Well, just to answer your question, Grant, I you know me too. I like the challenge, right? So I think a lot of people are gonna kind of say we're not going to be very good. We've lost you guys. We lost, some great seniors, and Zach Chapman, Steve Logan, Brennan Rains, Chris Ringfield, Aiden Skinner. All of these guys. We lost a great group of guys, and they graduated. So you know what everybody's going to say, and they do it even when you guys played. They always kind of downplayed us a little bit, because I think they feel like we're always up there. So if they can talk about somebody else, they'll talk about somebody else. And next year will be one of those years where they definitely talk about somebody else. But I feel pretty confident that we have, a couple guys that built a lot of experience with your leadership this past season, and developed a few of our guys currently that are on the team. And that JV team, for as many guys as they had, I think there was enough depth there that we're going to find some guys that are going to step up really help us next year. So the cream rises to the crop, and I'm looking forward to a different type of team. Maybe have to coach a little bit more than I had to this year because you guys were kind of the coaches this year. But I'm looking forward to next year. So that was a good question. It's a good question. Any others? Tay, you got a question?
Who the best team in St. Anne's history?
Oh, man. Coach Smith is on here now. Now, Coach Smith was on arguably the best team in St. Ed's history in '98. Your brother was on '07 and '08, which was arguably the other best teams. And now you guys are trying to get into that conversation. So which teams have a ring? So 98 and 14 have the rings. From a talent standpoint, I've always said, and that there's a big argument between 1997, the year before we won a state championship in '98, and 2007, the year before we won, your brother's senior year, his junior year when he played. Those two teams, in my opinion, were the deepest, most talented teams we've had. Because even in '97, 98 we won it because of like you guys' experience. They all became seniors. But in '97, we actually graduated 2 or 3 really good players that, made us just really deep. And that's why your team kind of reminded me of those two teams, is because they all went through that process of 96, 97, we went to the Final Four and lost, and won it in '98. In 2007, when your brother played, we went to the Final Four, we were undefeated, lost, and we probably would have won it the next year had we not had him get hurt and another starter got hurt that year, and we still made it to the state championship. But you guys were on that same path. I mean, you guys were a team that went to Final Four twice, and now you were seniors and kind of ready to make that next step, I really felt. So I'm not going to answer it completely, Tay, but you guys are in the picture. There's no question. You guys are in the picture.
There's only one team that's finished in the top 5 in the country at the end of the year.
There was 1998.
With apologies.
Third in the country. So
the 07 team had probably the most impressive, just the way they overwhelmed other teams and not to get too nerdy, but into the efficiency and the blowouts and all that stuff. What the 08 team would have had, and I think what we had too in '98, is we played a harder schedule, an almost national schedule to the extent that we could. We had a Christmas tournament where every team in the tournament was in the top 20 or top 25 in the country. I remember we played Country Day from Michigan. We played the top-ranked team from Kentucky. We went on the road and played the top-ranked team in West Virginia. We played Benedictine twice, who I think was like the 2-time defending Division II state champion in Ohio. We played McKinley, which was
all right. This isn't the Tim Smith.
Just go down the resume. While some of the numbers aren't quite as impressive, the overall body of work, I think we finished 2nd or 3rd in the country. Actually won the state championship, which I think is a helpful helpful thing to do.
Foster, you got any questions? You don't have to. I'm just asking.
Let me see. So what have you been doing, like Coach Flannery, like during quarantine?
Well, as you can see, I've been working out. I think I put on about 10 pounds. Similar to you guys, though. I think, the first few weeks was like everybody else. I was pretty lazy. I slept in, was I use the word depressed because there's no other way to use it. Like, just depressed at the way things were going, the way the season ended. However, I'm pretty optimistic about things. So I just figured, hey, we're going to get through this for a few weeks and things are going to come back and we'll be fine. And then at some point to maybe Grant's point here and you guys is I just realized like I got to start doing stuff. So I've been getting up early, about 7 o'clock every day now. I've actually been getting on the treadmill and doing about 45 minutes to an hour of workout and doing a bunch of these, more and more with USA basketball and here with Tim doing a lot of these stuff. So just trying to keep myself busy. And I actually feel finally like I'm doing things every day and looking forward to things. So seeing you guys, believe it or not, is something that makes me happy because it's good to see your faces. I know we text back and forth a little bit and do stuff, but just to get together is pretty awesome. And I love you guys. I appreciate you being here. We're all going to miss you guys going forward. But so, a couple last things here. Let's finish up on a couple last things. One, what are you going to miss most at St. Ed's? So just one thing that you're going to miss. It doesn't have to be sport related. It could be school, teacher. Mrs. Flan just walked by and said her. What are you going to miss most at St. Ed's? Grant, we'll start with you.
Well, obviously Mrs. Flan will be number one, but
Grant said Mrs. Flan number one.
I think just the people at St. Ed's, I've built like great relationships with people from all different fields, whether it's like teachers, coaches, or just friends or administrators. And I think just, going to school far away, I'm going to miss a lot of people.
Foster, how about you?
Definitely Mrs. Flan's Rice Krispie treats.
Rice Krispie treats, Foster.
Oh my God! Like I need some before I leave off to college for sure.
He wants some going off to college.
Yeah.
All right, you got him.
I say that, and probably just being at lunch, like with my friends, just chilling at the table, talking, chopping it up and stuff. That's just the best, really, just hanging out with them. Yeah, and that's really it.
Good. Tay-Tay?
Yeah, you already know Miss Flan number one. You already know. Most definitely the lunch table. Our lunch table at school had every day was funny. I'm gonna miss them a lot, and just the people at Ed's, like Grant said, everybody who showed me how to be a better person there and taught me how to be a better man.
That was pretty cool too. And again, we get into a whole bunch of stuff and things are just popping in my head. You guys have been together for a long time. I think somebody put on social media, maybe it was Grant, when he committed or when the season was over, a picture of you guys at a St. Ed's basketball camp with Hightower and some of your other Walters, I think, and some guys. But you guys were all in that picture. It must have been 4th or 5th grade, whatever. Tay-Tay's been in the St. Ed's gym since he was a pudgy little, 3-year-old, whatever it was. But you guys have been there a long time, and I think it's something that you've left your legacy there. You put a stamp on the program, which I think you all wanted to do, and you definitely held your own. So you guys should all be very proud of that, and I know we are. All right, so the last discussion, unless Tim wants to go somewhere else, is Mr. O'Boyle actually asked this on Twitter, and this is, you guys brought it up early, but who is the greatest basketball player of all time?
Well, start here, because I want to know,
Okay.
Are you guys watching the
Foster,
documentary?
Foster, you can't see it, but he'll be on there in a minute. When that yellow box comes up on your screen, that means you're on. So, Foster, you're going to have to wait till that yellow screen. Say something so everybody see it.
Is it?
He's
Go
like,
ahead.
No.
Foster, say something.
Foster, say something.
On me?
Yeah.
All right,
There it
good.
is.
So we got Braun.
Attaboy.
Okay. Foster's got a picture of Bron. So, Tim, go ahead.
So, well, Jordan and those Bulls teams were before these guys' time. Like, you guys weren't even alive, which is insane. So I was your age when, spoiler alert, when Michael hits the shot to beat Utah at the end of the documentary, I'm sure. So, are you guys? Is there some? What's that? Yeah, I screwed it up for
spoiled
Coach.
it.
Are you guys learning anything watching these episodes? Is there something that has really stood out to you guys as basketball players, watching the first 8 episodes so far?
Yes.
Foster, you go first. Since
All right, fine.
I mean, like, I don't really watch all of them. I watched two of them.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah, so I can't really say anything, but this man right here though, LeBron, he's the GOAT right here. This man the GOAT right here. Cause LeBron, I mean Jordan's competition, who is he playing against? He's playing He was playing against Cookland.
All right, we'll get to that nonsense later. Grant, go ahead.
Foster, what the heck have you been doing? It's like even if you don't like Michael Jordan, it's like man, it's been like the greatest 10. Sunday nights are unbelievable watching this stuff, and you said you don't really watch it. All right, you're done. You can't even talk anymore.
All right. So one thing about the documentary that kind of makes me mad is how they like skip around all the time. So like it'll be like 1998, and then a second later he'll be showing clips from 1993. So that gets me confused a lot. But another thing is that like the skill level back then was so much different. So like I find it hard to compare players. Like I saw a clip of MJ dribbling with his right hand on the left side, like going to his left. And then another thing is like the media is so skewed like that. Like I forget what episode it was, but when he was playing the Magic and he turned it over twice in the last 15 seconds, like if that was LeBron, he would be done. His like career would be over. Like no one would ever mention him again. So I feel like the media is a little bit skewed.
Did you watch the Golden State reruns where LeBron turned the ball over twice in the last few possessions to lose a game against Golden State? I mean, come on, Grant.
No, I don't remember that.
The post-ups against J.J. Barea aren't coming to mind right now.
Tay, what about you?
How hard he worked. His work ethic was crazy. Like last episode, how he said when he came back, he worked out 5 days a week. Then did filming for Space Jam. Then came back, played for another 5 hours, 4 hours there every day. It really just kind of show you how hard you got to work to make it, get where you want to be.
So what about his competitiveness? Does anything stand out? Like, have you guys ever seen anybody besides yourselves that you're, but have you guys ever seen somebody that competes like him and how he treats his teammates and how he treated everybody? And what do you think of that?
Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant's the only one who I can say had that attitude that he had. And I mean, you can't say something bad about it or how he treated his teammates because they worked. I mean, they've got championships. They got multiple championships. So you can't say anything that was wrong with it.
Grant, anything on that?
Like Tay said, it worked, but I think sometimes you got to pick your poison of when you want to, kind of be a dick to your teammates, and when you want to be positive and supporting. So I feel like he could have balanced it a little more, but it worked for him. He did what he had to do, and they won. So,
Foster, you don't get to comment because you don't watch.
I don't. You're right.
So real simple. Who's the greatest of all time, Foster?
LeBron.
Grant, who's the greatest of all time?
It's hard to compare just because they played like completely different people. But if I had to choose one,
that's what we're asking you to do. Choose one.
I know. I'd probably have to go with LeBron.
Tay?
All right, so who you want to take the last shot?
LeBron. LeBron's made so many more last-second shots than MJ.
There's
stats. There's stats. I should have done my 100%.
To be honest, low-key Kobe, though. I like Kobe. It's either Kobe or Bron.
Foster, you're 3 seconds away from getting muted.
Kobe.
Mike for sure the greatest of all time.
So you guys talk about this though too. Grant doesn't want a ring because he didn't win a championship, and you want to be considered one of the greatest teams of all time. Michael Jordan, what was his record in NBA Finals? Did he ever lose an NBA Finals?
No.
He got knocked out in the first round a couple times.
Right. Did he ever lose an NBA Finals? And what was his record? 6-0 in NBA Finals. What is LeBron's record in NBA Finals?
I mean, MJ wasn't going up against a super team of the Warriors.
Because he played Dirk Nowitzki and J.J. Barea. That's come on.
Have you seen the bad boys from Detroit? Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer, Dennis Rodman. These guys were stuck. I mean, come on. Man, we could talk about this. I guess it would be like me and Tim arguing about Bill Russell versus Michael Jordan or something like that, because Bill Russell was before our time and people argue he might be one of the best players. So I understand your point, Grant, and I appreciate that one, that it's like different times, different eras. It's you don't know, but record's pretty good, and Michael was probably the best in our generation. My favorite of all time was Larry Bird, but Magic Johnson was a close second, and Jordan was right there behind him. But he knocked out my favorite team of all time, the Cavs, with Mark Price, Brad Daugherty, and those guys. As we all know, as the Shot, that's the most devastating game that I've ever been a part of, in a bad way. But any final thoughts, Tim?
No, not. I don't want to. I don't want to make this any longer.
Okay.
I'll just say I appreciate you guys. It's been fun as hell to be around you for the last 4 years and maybe a little longer. From our side, on the staff and things like that, we're certainly thankful and grateful that you came through the school and the program. And one of the best things about it is giving us college teams to root for. So you better believe I'll be on ESPN Plus or wherever else I can watch Davidson in Eastern Kentucky. Foster, you'll be a little bit easier to find on the football field. But I know hopefully we'll all get a chance to catch up before you guys are getting off to school. But just want to say thank you. Appreciate you. And really looking forward to see what great careers you guys all have in college.
Thank you. And thank you for putting in all the time with the stats and everything.
We'll finish it up on that. Great job, Tim. Great job, guys. Foster, Grant, Tay. Appreciate you guys coming on. We'll be talking again shortly, but we love you guys. And on behalf of everybody at St. Ed's, and especially our coaches and the staff and everybody, we want to thank you, like Tim said, for your 4 years and what you've done for this basketball program. I know you don't want to be remembered for, the way things ended in 2020, but you're going to be remembered as a team that, went down with the chance, like Tim said, one of only 3 teams in our history to win their last game and to finish it the way you did. So we appreciate you, and we wish all of you nothing but success going forward, and stay in touch, and once an Eagle, always an Eagle. So make sure you come back often.
Yes, sir.
Tell your friends to download.
Will do.
All right, perfect. Great job, guys.